Apparently there's been a Classic Plus survey. I have heard about this. I haven't seen the survey, but let's see what this video has to say about it.
So you may have seen it already, but there has been a Classic survey floating about recently.
Wait, hold on. Wait, what?
Which people have been naming
new or explored storylines, new reputations, new imagined raids, new imagined dungeons, future races pulled back, future races, minor class changes, returning player re-entry feature, new player experience, new group events and rewards, ongoing class tuning and polish, guild bank, collections UI, dual talent specialization. Okay.
A Classic Plus survey, and today I thought I'd take a look over some of the questions. Now, I'm not too convinced about how real it is personally. I feel as though far too few people are posting about this, and something of this caliber would be pretty huge news. Then again, whether it's real or not, I do think it poses some questions which would be brought up in a Classic Plus scenario. So I think it's worth talking about either way. Also worth mentioning before we get going is I'm probably going to be drawing some parallels to old school RuneScape, because I've been reading a few opinions and the questions they're asking on these surveys, and the amount of times I've read the word sounds like retail is far too many. If Classic Plus ever happens, it's going to have stuff from retail in it, I can pretty much guarantee you. It might not straight away, but it will. If you look at old school RuneScape, that released in 2013, and it was a snapshot of their servers from 2007. And with their player-driven polling system, they were adding completely new content into the game within the space of a year. And
this is kind of cool though. Like, I don't know how well it would work with the World of Warcraft community and everything like that, but this is pretty cool, because you can see it's usually pretty like, it's like a pretty landslide in all of them, right? There's like very few people that disagree with stuff, but most of the part, they actually like agree on shit pretty well. Ask the players, because at the end of the day, the players are the people that play the game. I will say to a certain extent though, maybe sometimes people don't really know what they really want, right? But asking the community and doing polls, I think is a great idea of gauging like interest for something, right?
On top of that, they have remodeled.
OSRS is more connected with its community than WoW. I could imagine that. I don't really play old school RuneScape, but I know it's had a lot of success with it because of this whole polling system and everything like that.
A lot of content from RuneScape 3, that's their equivalent of retail, and tailored it into Classic so it fits into the universe story-wise, it looks the part, and it fits mechanically as well. And I'm just saying, over retail's many years of history, they've had a lot of very good updates. If this Classic Plus thing happens, it would be an ongoing server. If it's just Classic era plus a little bit of extra stuff, I just don't think people are going to stick around. So as the server progresses, I think people are going to get more open to change if it does indeed happen. Just one.
Yeah, I do still think though a Classic Plus shouldn't be very extreme, in my opinion. I think it's, I don't know. I mean, Turtle WoW always gets thrown around with this situation, I guess, but like, I feel like it should be very close to what Vanilla was, just with a little bit more content, like new dungeons and raids, and like maybe small minor tweaks to some certain classes, but that's it, right? Desmond, thank you for the Prime.
To get that out of the way though, but let's take a look at some of the questions. So below are a mix of features that could be included in a new version of World of Warcraft. So we have new or unexplored storylines and lore. This one's pretty much a given and something which would need to happen. There are a bunch of stories in the game which are unfinished and could be picked back up. Not really much to add on that one, but it would be something that would need to happen. New reputations and rewards. Again, this goes along with new stories and lore. You meet new factions, new groups of people within the game, and they would have new rewards. New or reimagine raids. There's actually quite a substantial amount of raiding content at level 60 already. Obviously, I'd like to see new raids, who wouldn't? But you could also add maybe a new wing to existing raids to flesh them out a bit more and give people a reason to get excited about them. But again, this would be something that would happen. Exactly the same comment for new or reimagined dungeons. Both new dungeons will be good, as well as adding to existing ones.
I think they did a pretty decent job with the Demonfall Canyon, honestly. I don't know, I know some people hate it, but I feel like it's a pretty cool way of like making a new dungeon. You take like an existing zone within the game and you make it a dungeon out of it, right? I think it's pretty good. Honestly, Demonfall Canyon, in my opinion, is a pretty big W for Blizzard for sure.
Or future races pulled back.
We don't know if this is official Blizzard survey, but it's been floating around a little bit. There's a high chance that it's not, Loco, but it could be, right? Who knows at this point?
So I don't think you need to add races from the future of the game into it, because they would have to be added in a pretty jarring way, where they don't really already exist within the universe. We do have a lot of potentials in the game. We got Firbolg, Ogre, Worgen, High Elves, Goblins, and so on and so forth. There's
a lot of races that could work in like the vanilla world still, High Elves and all those.
Enough content there where we could group up with a new faction that we've never done before. So new races, yes. Future races, probably not. New or future classes pulled back. Eventually, this will be something that would happen, but I'm not talking about it from launch or anything. But when the server's a few years old, this would make sense in...
Yeah, true. Goblin. I mean, we do technically have goblins with the gift of gob now in SOD, don't we? Real Classic Plus shouldn't be lazy. Legit new stuff, not just use old assets or add dungeons somewhere that doesn't require work. Yeah, I mean, it's definitely a huge undertaking, right? But it could really, if they do it well, it could be super good. But it's such a difficult thing to do well, because everybody has a different opinion of what Classic Plus is in their perfect world, right?
Now, this wouldn't involve copy-pasting DK, putting it in Classic and saying job done. You'd have to put some effort into this. Equally with new classes, again, maybe, why not? Perhaps the Tinker class, for example. That's one I'm surprised we haven't seen in retail yet. You could even have it with two specializations. You could have the Goblin Spec Tinker, which is all about explosions and bombs and damage, and then the Gnomish one, which is more tanky, and they can conjure shields, throw out target dummies, and reduce damage taken.
Dude, that is maybe Willie's way of looking at Classic Plus is insane though. That is great. That is very, very new stuff. I think the Turtle WoW server did do, or is it Ascension? One of those servers have a bunch of crazy, wicked, random classes and stuff like that. I feel like for me, it wouldn't have to be that extreme for me to want to play it, right?
Class changes. Again, this will be something that I'd want to see. Not to the extent of Season of Discovery. They've gone a bit crazy in Season of Discovery, but some people are like that, which is fine. But if Paladins had a taunt, Ret Pallies had something to do other than right click, the hybrid DPSs didn't go Ooman, and so on and so forth, that would be good. Returning...
Yeah, it's very minor. I think very minor things if it were to be in a Classic Plus thing, right?
Player re-entry feature. And I'm going to bundle this together with new player experience, the next one. So I think that Classic's initial hook, its first moments of leveling, are kind of important to the whole game, because
hardcore,
things don't speed up after you first get through those initial starting zones and levels. It's a slow-paced game, and it stays that way. And if you play it at the start and you think this isn't for me, I don't think that's going to change if they speed you through the first 10 or 20 levels or give you a bunch of gear for free.
Dude, I really don't think, I think the leveling is really good, man. A lot of people that don't like the leveling, maybe they just don't like the game, man. Because it's such a big part of it, dude. It's not fun after 2 characters, though. Yeah, but it's kind of how the game is, man, right? It is what it is.
I think Blizzard should be afraid to let Classic be what it is in terms of its original format, so I wouldn't touch either of these things. New group events and rewards. So I'm assuming this will be more tailored towards open world activities. I think with this, I'd want to see what exactly it's going to be before it goes into the game, to be honest. But in theory, it would be good. Ongoing class tuning and polish. Again, yes, you would need to do this. Pretty much every other MMO ever has done this. Classic is a really weird exception in that it never balances anything, more or less. At the same time, it's a bit of a double-edged topic, because I've seen how class balancing has gone in Season of Discovery, and Blizzard have said that they don't expect it to be perfect, but honestly, the players do. They do expect it to be perfect. And the amount of just constant complaining about the state of class balance has been something which, whenever I go to read about Season of Discovery, is something I find. So something ongoing would be good, but I just don't know.
I don't know. In a way, maybe that's because SOD is just a very special, weird thing. I don't really mind some classes randomly finding some crazy spec and stuff. I mean, they get nerfed eventually and stuff like that, but bro, it's kind of funny seeing how weird and how crazy some specs became out of nowhere. I don't know. Maybe that's an unpopular opinion, but I feel like it's been kind of cool seeing all that shit, right? Even if I didn't play the class myself, right? Add level 60 class quests that are akin to Warlock and Paladin mount quests would be fun. Yeah, something like that could be really cool. I agree with that. Yeah.
know how well the players are going to react to it. Guild Bank, I mean, the alternative is you have an alt that you trade stuff to, so Guild Bank, sure, why not? You could even...
I don't see a reason not to have this, honestly, at the end of the day. I mean, I don't know. Maybe the reason to not add this would be there would be more drama without guild banks, because then you would have them on characters, and then Billy's like selling it for himself, and then, you know, there's like drama with that shit. Who knows?
Make it a bit of a gold sink within the game. A collections UI where you could store your mounts, toys, and companions in classic era. This is
honestly, I really like the little keyring for like unused toys. Man, honestly, that shit is nice, okay? I'ma be real, dude. Shout out to the keyring, man. That is so nice.
A bit of a funny one, really. There are some toys in the game which are a lot of fun to use, but they're trinkets, so realistically you can never use them, such as the Orb of Deception is one that comes to mind. And if you look in Season of Discovery at the moment, they have that toy that turns you into a goblin, and everyone's using it all the time because they are a lot of fun, and if they're in a toy UI, you can use them whenever. Also,
that's really cool. I like this. This is funny. Thank you for
if they're in a UI like this, that makes them usable cross characters. You have sort of less of this main character identity, and when you've earned something on your main, you'd also be able to use it on your role. So say there's some new really rare mount from whatever it is, a raid, from PvP, from some new rep grind, you would technically be able to use that on your roll to level 40 straight away. I
don't like that. I think if we're talking about Classic Plus, I think the keyring and stuff is cool, but I don't think mounts should be account shared. Right? Because there's something very special about, like, this is your character. You have it on this character, right? Instead of it just being shared. In a vanilla world, I don't think that fits, personally. For retail, for Cataclysm, fine. Right, but for a vanilla world, I really don't think that works, right?
If that's something,
but everybody wants something different, right? That's the difficult thing about that, I guess, Ilunius.
You want to go down. I think initially this would have to be a no, but it depends how many new things they end up putting in the game. Dual talent specialization.
Why not?
Another huge question here. I think this has been really successful in Season of Discovery personally. I don't mind some degree of gold sync still being added to it instead of a one-time cost.
I like this.
And I wouldn't even mind seeing some kind of consumable profession item that can be used to reset your talents remotely, such as an alchemy potion that makes you forget stuff, a engineering helm that zaps you and resets your talent points, just something like that. I think this is particularly true for people that want to PvP as well, and PvP doesn't need more barriers to entry than it already has in Classic.
It freaking sucks, man, in normal vanilla, having to spend like 50 gold to respec to PvP, and then 50 gold again when you want to raid. It's actually a pain, dude, because it ends up being 50 gold for a respec, right? And it's so annoying, man. I end up just always PvPing in like my raid spec anyway, because I don't want to spend that gold on it, right?
Improves social features, so implementation of the updated social systems, global chats, guild, pre-made, group finder, and so on. So yes to some, no to others. I think with the guild changes, it's kind of fine as it is at the moment. It's not terribly useful either way. Global chats, I'm not really sure what they mean. I think it works fine. You just tick the ones that you want, and you don't tick the ones you don't want, and that's it, job done. Pre-made group finder, however, yes, actually, I do want that. And I'm not talking about the one that teleports you to a dungeon and automatically groups you with people, but the fact that people are still just using a chat channel where you have to spam looking for group, and that
it can be kind of a pain in the butt. What was that bulletin board? That's what the thing was called that people were using, right? Which essentially is just like a shittier version of this, right? I don't know. I wouldn't be really against that, right? Looking for a good bulletin board. I mean, the bulletin board is fine. It kind of just takes the whole chat and it makes it into like a little box so you can like click on them, right?
That's all the game has at its base format. Just a chat channel that you spam in. It's really bad. The LFG bulletin board add-on literally has millions of downloads because of how comically unusable the basic UI is. Put the pre-made group finder in the game, give people a bit of an easier time putting a group together.
I have a feeling like people would hate it though. If they were to add this, even not like the automatic group finder, not the teleport to dungeon, not even just like a queuing system, even if they just added that, I feel like people would really dislike that though. Personally, I think that would kind of work though, man. Just like a way to like go and search for groups you want to join is a good way of really going about it, right? Not an LFG, like it's just like a way of doing that, I guess. The one in TBC, yeah, exactly.
Of life features that could be included in a new version of Classic. Revamping or adding flight paths, boats, or zeppelins to Azeroth to make travel around the world more efficient.
Nah, dude. Listen, man. it's a shitty thing, right? But I kind of like that it takes a while to get around the world because it makes the world feel bigger, man. All right, maybe it's because I'm so used to it, though, right?
We've all seen the pictures, right, of some guy that's missing one flight path, and the flight literally wants to take them through a zigzag of the entire map to where they want to go. I mean, it's completely stupid, but it's also kind of funny and part of the game. And at the end of the day, Classic Plus will be an ongoing survey. If you don't
Dude, it's good, though, man. You take the flight path, you know, you go get a snack from the kitchen, maybe you go pet your dog, you know, chill a little bit, you know, it's good times.
The flight path, go and get the flight path. I mean, your character's not going to go anywhere, hopefully. Then again, maybe 1 or 2 flight paths could be added, such as Northern Stranglethorn Vale for Alliance at that Rebel camp, which is just an absolute pain to get to.
Well,
overall, things are probably okay as they are. Adjusting the way items stack in bags to make inventory management easier. Honestly, just buy some better bags. I imagine as the server would go on, they'd add new profession crafting items, and bags may indeed be one of them. Introducing in-game resources to help players find the right guild for them. I don't think this is theoretically a bad thing, but I don't really know how it would go. At the same time, I do think a lot of people already fall in with a type of guild which is for them. Some people will just see a trade chat guild spamming and they'll join that and that'll be fine, so they just want to be part of something big.
Yeah, or you join a group and with someone and you join their guild or whatever, heck, maybe you join like a streamer guild, right? I feel like that's fine. It's about the MMO, right? That's like talking to people. That's how you really go about it.
Try-hard people who are going to go looking up guilds on Warcraft logs to see how good they are, to see how fast they clear. They're going to look through everything on their server's Discord, and I don't know how much an in-game tool would end up changing that, so I think it's probably fine. Reducing the mana cost or increasing the duration of buff spells, for example, Prayer of Fortitude. I
will say, it is really annoying playing a shaman and having a 5-minute freaking buff on my weapon. That is getting changed, though, whenever you get the max rank, to be fair. So that is in Sword, that is changed. But in normal vanilla, having to click Wind Fury every like 5 minutes is a pain in the butt. Like, what is even that 5-minute buff, and you have to refresh it? What is that?
The way to buff all of these would be to make them part of your raid wide by default. However, if you do that, you'll lose the interaction of needing consumable items to use the raid wide buffs, which is ultimately losing something from the game, which I think it's not worth taking away for the convenience at this point in time. I wouldn't.
Battle Shout? Yeah, Battle Shout can be annoying as well, but I don't find myself being as annoyed about Battle Shout as I am about Shaman Imbues. I don't know why. I think it's just because I made it a habit to always like Battle Shout every now and again, but like as a shaman, it kind of, I don't know, it doesn't, the Battle Shout doesn't really bother me as much. Yeah, maybe it's like less impactful as well, maybe that's why. And you can go booming voice to make it a little bit longer, like 3 minutes.
And seeing the individual buffs bumped up a bit in duration and lowered on mana cost a bit, just so rebuffing isn't quite as painful. Adding flying mounts to classic era. So I'm going to go back to old school RuneScape real quick. So obviously they have a polling system, and part of that responsibility when you're polling your players on updates is you need to know which questions just shouldn't be asked, because you don't want to open the Pandora's box and see what's in there. It's not that I have particularly strong feelings for or against them, it's just they don't fit in the world. The world is not built for flying. You go over a mountain and behind it there'd just be a flat bunch of nothing there. This just fundamentally doesn't work, and isn't a question that should have ever been asked, if it is indeed real, which, you know, is questionable. Adding summoning stones to dungeon or raid entrances. Actually, yes, I would be in favor of this. So before the inevitable makes the world smaller retail comments come in, this has just happened too many times to me. I have this philosophy when it comes to wanting to do a dungeon, is that when I'm looking for people for the dungeon, or I'm looking for a group for the dungeon, I go to the dungeon. That way, when I found people, I'm at the dungeon. Not that many people do this, unfortunately. A lot of people look for a group for a dungeon while they'll look for Shadowfang Keep while they're in Ashen Vale, and they're as humanly far away as they can possibly be, and they don't have any of the flight paths, and you fill their group, and they're legitimately about 30 minutes away on foot. And it's like, well, great, I'm glad I made the effort to come here in advance. I'll just go AFK for 30 minutes so you can get here. And no, I don't particularly want to start a conversation with somebody who just did that to me either. Now, usually this is fine because I play a Warlock, but when I don't play a Warlock, it's actually just painful watching people join the group and be in just a completely different continent. And I've had this experience enough times now, so yes to summoning stones.
I think it's because he's a Warlock main, so he's just tired of people asking him for summons, okay? I'm gonna be real. But I guess I get it, right? It wouldn't really bother me too much if this were to be added, right? Like, it's like a minor thing for me, right? It is what it is.
It doesn't just have to be...
I wouldn't really be angry if it was added, honestly.
Summoning stones work now, end of story. You could have, for example...
Making summoning stones usable after the first dungeon clear might be a good middle ground. Yeah, they have like a similar thing in some sort of capacity, I guess, in retail. I said the R word, guys, I'm sorry. But whenever you've done a +10 Mythic Plus, you get a teleport to the dungeon. Wouldn't be a teleport to the dungeon in this sense. You would just activate the ability to use the summoning portal, or like the meeting stone as a summoning stone, right? So, I mean, that could be a good way of doing it, yeah.
A warlock that needs to insert shards into a summoning stone to activate it, and then it'll work for a period of time, or something similar with another class. Either way though, that's an update I would want to see. And in Chronoboons to safely store well buff effects, yes, no brainer, there's no downside to this, that should be in the game. Increasing the size of the quest log. I think understanding your quests and your limitations and what you have accepted and not accepted is kind of the fun part of vanilla questing. I probably like questing a lot more than the average person.
Oh dude, and when you get a full quest log and you just you juice it all up and it's like fully prepped up, it's so good, man. Best feeling.
Realize this, but if you have a quest log of say 50 different things, you're gonna lose track of what's going on, I can guarantee you. And finally, making mail delivery instant between players. Yes please, and while you're at it, also make nameplates 42 yards, thank you.
I could see this as being between your account, right? Like instant mail on your own account. That would be nice. That would definitely be nice, though.
Anyways, those are all the questions that we had today. I just wanted to share some thoughts on them. Whether the whole survey is real or not, I think it's just an interesting discussion to have. And who knows, maybe something more comes out of this relatively soon. Let me know your thoughts on everything, what you'd be for, what you'd be against. And, as always, thank you all so much for watching and listening in. And I'll see you all in the next one very soon.
Interesting video, man. This was really nice. Check out Willy, guys, obviously. I'll link the video right here. Check it out, guys. Check it out. Some of these questions are really worrying, like they have zero clue what Classic makes Classic great. Can we for Classic Plus with GDKP and rampant budding? Looks like Blizzard's taking the Turtle WoW ideas finally. Classic Plus needs a barbershop. It's important. I don't know. I think for me, in terms of a Classic Plus vibe, I wouldn't want like crazy big changes to the core gameplay. I feel like just implementing like kind of some new shit here and there, new dungeons, new zones, new raids and stuff would be the way maybe, and then small minor tweaks to it. That's pretty much it.